All right, welcome to the ELC YouTube channel. So today we're going to take a look at something regarding content, written content for law firm websites. And I'm probably going to do a playlist surrounding content. So take a look at the channel for anything else within this category because there's definitely a lot to cover here. But I thought that I would probably start out with a pretty basic question that a lot of lawyers have, lawyers and attorneys, whenever they're first starting to learn about SEO and gaining traffic organically towards their website. So, regardless of what platform you are trying to get traffic from, this is going to apply to all of those. So, whether it's Google, Bing, or any AI like ChatGPT, for example, this is totally going to apply to all of them. It's just that the rankings and how they are served to people is going to be different based on the platform. So hopefully I'll describe all of that in later videos. But let's go straight into this here with a live result that I'm looking at on my computer. So if we take a look at something like this, this is a SERP, search engine results page on Google for divorce lawyers. So the main thing I'm trying to look at right now is just who's top ranked in, let's say, Orlando, the center of Florida, for a very popular search term like this one for any sort of family law firm. So this is simulated from the center of Orlando. So if you take a look at the map pack, you will see the center of Orlando if you're familiar with that. But we can go ahead and skip past this and look at just the regular listings on here. I will come back again to things like the map pack that we see here and how to increase rankings for that. But first, I want to just kind of start with the basics, and I'm going to look at what is top ranking here on regular Google search. So here, and I have an extension added to my website or to my web browser. So I have the Ahrefs extension, and you can go ahead and use this as well. You don't have to log in to see certain info like the content side, or I believe the actual numbers here that you see should be available for free without a login. So if you want to use that to get a good count right here, just visually, it's definitely helpful to do that. But we can see number one is going to be super lawyers. So obviously it's a very powerful directory, and they go ahead and sell placements on here. So other than that, obviously other than directories, we're taking a look at these law firms that are top ranking. So again, going back to the main question, why do you need blog posting on your website? Well, if you are, let's say, this top ranking law firm right here, and then I can go to their homepage. If you're this law firm and you do divorce, obviously, then you would be most interested in ranking for what I call a high intent query. So it's very important to distinguish high intent searches that people do as opposed to just people trying to look for info. So if you are trying to go for something very valuable like this, then it would be very important for you to try to get a ranking like this law firm has here. So there's a bunch of different reasons why they might rank here, and it does depend on every city, and technically also every case type is different too. But what I'm trying to point out today is I wanted to look at their blog. So blog posts, typically they cover questions like what you're seeing here, informational. They can be specific to one type of case. But you could also do different ones, such as people who are looking for a prenup lawyer specifically, right? You could try to do a blog post with within the category of prenups. So you can see here, even more than just covering the content on their website, they do have a category established on the website for prenups, and that's as a bonus, and we could come back to all of that as far as organizing the website. But I think the basic thing that I want to point out is using Ahrefs here. I'm going to take a look at what they rank for across their entire blog. So I'm looking at the entire path. In this case, they use /blog in the URLs of all their blog posts. So we can very quickly look at what they rank for within their blog section. And here, obviously, there's a lot of metrics. If you're not familiar with Ahrefs, just kind of pay attention to what I'm looking at as far as this column here, um, and what keyword. Also, you can see over here what page it is, but the most important thing is to look at what keywords they're ranking for right now and how much estimated traffic they're getting on a monthly level from this. So we can see all sorts of different queries here. All of these, I'm like looking through them as we speak, but all of these here are informational searches that people are doing on Google. So they're not traditionally rankings that would convert into clients right away. It is possible for you to convert a client that is first looking for info before they actually look for an attorney directly. But I just wanted to point out that part of being a top ranking law firm for a given case, it goes back to what you're relevant for. And people that are SEO marketers, they like to throw that word around, relevancy, in so many different ways. But in this video, we can kind of take a look at, well, okay, do you get traffic towards your website for informational divorce searches? Because if you don't, then you're missing something that's very powerful that this given law firm, for example, is using. And we can go and do that same check for these other law firms too. But we start to see a similar look, even another prenup article, similar to that last one we saw from the first law firm. So if we go down, and this law firm here, they rank very well for a variety of different divorce lawyer queries. And in this case, I'm seeing a lot more instances of the keywords being found by Ahrefs than the other lawyers. So there's a very good chance that they are using Ahrefs themselves and have integrated their website and have passed along all that information of the rankings and keyword data that's internal over to Ahrefs, which is great for us marketers because now I can take a look at one of their blog posts here, such as this one for uncontested divorce. That's obviously within that category of divorce, a little bit closer than everything else on here. And then when we're looking at this page here, we can do something funky here. Let's look at the word uncontested. And we can see here that not only do they rank for something like divorce lawyer, but they're also ranking for anything else that is relevant underneath that category, such as uncontested divorce. So just a quick kind of example as to how law firms can use blog posting. Obviously, the more traffic you get, the more successful you are with each blog post, the more it's going to end up pushing that top level category query, which goes back to one of those high intent ones, such as all of these great ones that we can see this law firm ranking for. Now, every law firm is different, so you definitely want to check your competitors to see maybe what topics they're using, because there might be an example like this one here, where we can go ahead and have high certainty that if we write an article to cover this search term, that we're probably going to get a good amount of traffic coming over to our website for said purpose. So we can very easily go over to something that they've written about, and we can take a deeper approach than just trying to copy it over. Obviously, if you do straight up copy it, you can, get yourself into some trouble there. But something that you're definitely free to do is try to copy the topic. You don't have to copy paste, so you can put your own spin on the title, but obviously it's a little bit difficult to put a spin on a title if it's just targeting the direct question that you're going for. So taking the title and then maybe taking a look with some type of tool like Ahrefs, which again, you can look at this for free, taking a look at what headings they have. In this example, it doesn't look like this is very well optimized. It looks like they just threw some text up on the page. There's no sort of like quality involved with separating different subsections within the article using headings. So we can already see at a glance that we can probably, without even reading this, right, I can probably send this topic over to my writers and produce a much better piece than what we're looking at. Meaning that in this small example, we can very easily take a good amount of traffic. Again, I'm not even familiar with what the Good Dad Act law is, and I don't really have to be because I use legal writers, right? So you can think about how you can even delegate this process to people that aren't that familiar with the law, they can at least use tools like Ahrefs to pull out topics, put it on a list, categorize said list so that you can pick and choose which case type you're trying to push more than others. But then send that topics list off to maybe somebody that can clean it up in case there's things that are irrelevant, and then pass it off to an actual writer. But at that point, you can kind of see what a strategy is there with blog posting and a little bit of why that actually matters. Because while it's nice to have traffic on the website because it pushes everything else up, I don't really care too much about somebody coming to this page and getting info and leaving. Now, even just that does boost up your SEO, even if they don't hire you because you were the one that gave them the answer that they were looking for. But every now and then, in a rare occasion, if you have conversion tracking enabled on your website, you might realize, oh wow, like every now and then I get a good case off of some random blog post that maybe I didn't have to be too involved to do it. Maybe you don't have a team, maybe you don't have marketers, so you go ahead and actually write this up yourself. But you can kind of see there's different ways to go about it, all of which are already being used by top ranking law firms. And in this example, this was just family law. This isn't even that competitive. It is a nice big city, of course, Orlando, but if you are an attorney that is doing something like maybe bankruptcy, you might realize that this is easier to do. You might realize that your competitors don't have good blog posts in your given city. So you just having your experience and knowledge as a lawyer and knowing what people ask you already, just go off of that and go ahead and put that content up on your website. And you'd be surprised at how much of a boost you can provide when nobody else in your city is doing so. But again, main concept really does go back to, we are on platforms like Google or Bing, and these companies, they're very big companies, right? They want to make money, and to make money, they have to maintain the market share of people searching online. So they're very, very motivated in making sure that they're going to rank law firms or any business really, which is putting in a lot of effort towards providing answers to their clients, the users for Google. That's kind of like their clients. So yeah, that's the basic concept. But why should you publish blog posts on your website? Why should you do blogging at all? Very simple. It gets traffic. It's relevant traffic. It's traffic from locals, at least from your state, right? All of these articles, because the law differs from state to state, you're competing for different states with this. So you can get locals coming in. Sure, they might be in other cities, but at least you should be able to still service them if they're in the same state. I guess it depends on what case type you're doing. But relevant traffic coming through, which does provide an SEO boost for your website overall. More specifically, it helps push the high intent queries, the money keywords for the case types that you're writing about. So just a very basic example there. Check out the rest of the YouTube channel. If I haven't covered your question, you can go ahead and send it over to us and we can cover it in a future video. But thanks so much for watching till the end. Go ahead and give me a like if this helped you out and consider subscribing for more.